Hello, good evening, and my name is Adriana Green. I'm a faculty member in the Center for Native American Studies, and I joined Northern last year, actually as a full-time faculty, and have been very excited about being here. It's been a great environment and very nurturing and very collegial and great people and a great community and a larger community and everything. So it's been really a privilege to be here. And this is the kind of event and occasion that really, I think, distinguishes Northern. I've been at other institutions prior to this, and this is really something wonderful to see and to see it grow as well. So I hope it'll continue and grow into, I don't know, an octopus here. But it is my pleasure this evening to welcome you to this session with Lynn Hubbard. And I'm going to read here a little bit from my notes, give you a little bit of his background and his vita. Lynn Hubbard has graduated from Valparaiso University and holds advanced degrees from the Lutheran School of Theology and the Chicago Theological Seminary. He has studied at the Pädagogische Hochschule. Give me Italian, Spanish, French, Portuguese, but German is hard. In Reutlingen, Germany, at the Religious Studies Department at the University of Indiana, at the Divinity School at the University of Chicago, and for many years he also worked as the Associate Dean at the Rockefeller Chapel at the University of Chicago. He has served a number of churches during his time in Chicago, and also lived in the island of St. Croix in the Virgin Islands, pastoring two Afro-Caribbean Lutheran congregations. He has extensive experience in both the interfaith and ecumenical communities, and served as a Director of Development for the Parliament of World Religions. Most recently, in working in his capacity as Spiritual Director for Juvenile Sex Offenders, Lynn has given national and international conference presentations on, and I quote here the title, Creating Ritual Process for Juvenile Sex Offenders from a Cross-Cultural Perspective. He is currently the minister of Eden on the Bay, Lutheran Church in Munising, so he's here back in our community in Michigan, and travels regularly to the Lakota Sioux reservations in South Dakota, and has worked, I think, extensively and been associated with Tilly Blackbear, and has helped facilitate this, her presence here today. And he's also, in his work with those communities, he also helps prepare graduate theological students in cross-cultural ministerial training. And as an anthropologist, I certainly appreciate all those perspectives. And I can also add that he's been kind of getting involved a little bit here in our community at Northern, and he's been coming to our events at the Center for Native American Studies and at the First Earth Day Summit last April, and you also participated in the drumming session, the music session, and everything. So a lot of different talents. And without further ado, it is my pleasure to invite Lynn to the podium.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I also make my own clothes too, and I'm a heck of a nice guy. You know, I'm really happy today. I've been happy for the last couple of days because my friend Tilly Blackbear is here. I've been wanting Tilly. Tilly's been so gracious to me for many, many years to share her family with me and her friends with me, and she allows me. You know, I go down and pray with Tilly, and that's meant a lot to me. And it's wonderful to have Tilly here. And I'm not going to do it in a traditional quote this, quote that, quote that. Just assume that everything that I have to say I stole from somebody else, all right? Let me show you where I stole these thoughts from. This is the best that I can do. See, but now you don't have to read all of these books. I'm going to start off with a few quotes from this book by Derek Jensen, A Language Older Than Words. My friend George Karen said, you got to check this book out. And it's a really powerful, very powerful book. And Renata Teresa here is a friend of mine. So she came here all the way. We got to know one another online, right? Renata, and she flew all the way in here from New Jersey to come to meet Tilly. She's very excited about meeting Tilly, and she's very excited to be here, right? So let's give Renata a round of applause. She's a very interesting person. Another great book, I have a bunch of books up here, but this one I'm also going to steal from, Native American Discovery and Conquest. And then at the end of the session, I have some other books here that I'd like to recommend to you. Let's start off with Steve Charleston. Steve Charleston's a really interesting guy. He was a member of the Choctaw Nation, and he's the current dean of the Episcopal Divinity School in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And he wrote a wonderful article entitled The Old Testament of Native America. And in that article, this is what Steve Charleston said. He said, "The fact is that Christians must permit the same right for other peoples that they have claimed for themselves. That God was as present among the tribes of Africa as God was present among the tribes of America, as God was present among the tribes of Israel. Consequently, we must be cautious about saying that God was unique to any one people. God was in a special relationship to different tribes or in a particular relationship with them, but never in an exclusive relationship that shut out the rest of humanity." I want to declare jihad, right? I want to declare a jihad right here in River City, a Northern Michigan Yooper jihad. You know what jihad, right? A holy war, a war of the spirit. But I want this to kind of be like a heyoke holy jihad, you know, a heyoke jihad, right? A jihad of the spirit, right? Where you confront absolute black evil with humor and with satire and with what one might call weapons of the spirit. Not weapons of conquest, not smart bombs, but smart people, man, right? Smart people, smart spirits, yeah? Heyoke jihad. Laugh it into goodness. Make fun of it into goodness. Satirize it into goodness. Stand up, people of the spirit, right? And fight with the weapons of the spirit. Not weapons of conquest, but holy weapons of the spirit. But I was immediately appealed to this idea. Heyoke jihad. It's like, you know, the notion of European superiority over native peoples goes back to the very beginning of the European invasion, as Columbus's own diary entry for October 1942 demonstrates. This is actually 1492. This is actually an excerpt. October 12, 1492, Christopher Columbus writes this: "They ought to make good and skilled servants, for they repeat very quickly whatever we say to them. I think that they can easily be made Christians, for they seem to have no religion. If it pleases our Lord, I will take 6 of them for your highness when I depart." October 14th, "These people are very unskilled in arms. Your highness will see this for yourselves when I bring you the 7 that I have taken. After they learn our language, I shall return them, unless your highness orders that the entire population be taken to Castile or held captive here. With 50 men, we could subject everyone and make them do what you wished." You know, Christopher Columbus was an extremely devout Catholic for his time. All of the conquistadors were devout Catholics. They had Mass every morning. That's how they started their day before they went on their genocidal rampages. Very interesting. The doctrine of discovery. 1823, there was a Supreme Court ruling by the name of Johnson and McIntosh, and the United States made the doctrine of discovery the law of America, basically. And in a nutshell, the Supreme Court said that under discovery, when European Christian nations discovered new lands, the discovering country automatically gained sovereign and property rights in the lands of non-Christian and non-European peoples, even though obviously the native peoples already owned, occupied, and used the land. The European title was the exclusive right to buy the newly discovered lands whenever natives consented. The right held by the discovering European country was limited by and subject to the natives' rights to occupy and use the land. But in reality, the European Americans had acquired an exclusive option to buy American Indian land if ever the tribal nation chose to sell. This was called the power of preemption. So not only did white Europeans own the land, right? Native Americans were also prohibited from entering into discussions with other countries about selling their land. Are you with me? So this is the way it starts. The European discovering nation gained real property rights to native lands and sovereign powers merely by walking ashore in the New World and planting a flag in the soil. I claim this land for the King of Spain. And so it was. The loss of native property rights and sovereign rights was justified, the court said. Now, this is the Supreme Court of the United States. By the character and religion of its inhabitants. The superior genius of Europe, and ample compensation to the Indians by bestowing on them civilization and Christianity in exchange for unlimited independence. Wasn't that gracious of these people, what they did?